Alright guys, we're going to be talking about another guitar, surprisingly yet, another Yngwie guitar. This one predates the Fender Signature Series though, so it's a little different. So check this thing out. This is the Schecter YM-1. So from the best I can tell, this is from 1986. They didn't make very many of these because apparently Yngwie got stolen away from Schecter by Fender. So do as we usually do and start from the top. As you can see, it has the small headstock in the 50s style, so that's kind of cool. One feature that I think just about every guitar should have, if it doesn't have, you know, a canted headstock, is tuners like these. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but they are staggered. So the first one is long and then they progressively get shorter, which eliminates the need for a string tree, which is kind of cool because I like the look of the headstock all cleaned up with no string tree. The tuners are Schecter tuners. I don't know if they made them or if they had somebody make them for them. Other cool parts about them is that the keys look a lot like the Godot tuners, so these might actually be made by Godot. And they're staggered, like I said, but they still have the hole right in the middle of the post, so it's still like the vintage tuners like the Schallers and the Klusons, so you can put the string down in there and you don't have anything around here to poke the hell out of you when you're, you know, trying to clean up around here. I think that also helps with tuning stability. And since they're staggered, you don't really need to have a million windings around each string or each tree or whatever you want to call it. So is good, but is also bad. It's good because obviously, you know, you don't really need to have a million windings on there. But it's bad because I'm used to having a million windings on there, so I had no idea how much string I would need. You know, I have a general idea of how much string I need to cut off with the traditional Fender F tuners or the Schaller ones. This one, you know, I kind of guessed some of them were right, some of them were way too long, some of them were maybe even almost a little too short. So definitely something I'll have to get used to. Not sure if the nut is probably plastic. It looks like it's probably original. I don't think they had the graphite nuts back in '86 yet. They could have. I could be wrong, but not sure. And from what I hear, the scallops on these were all hand done because there was no CNC yet in 1986. So they did a pretty good job. One weird thing though is that they actually scalloped the little end piece here. It kind of goes like that. So not sure why they would do that, but they did that, I guess, maybe just to keep the look going. But the Fenders, it's all flat right there because you're not going to be playing that anyway. Not sure what the dots are made out of. They're probably plastic. They look like plastic, but overall fit, finish, and quality of components and everything on this guitar is really, really good. It's got some really nice grain. I don't know if you'll be able to check it out, but it comes out pretty good. The headstock on this one is shiny, and the back is kind of more of a matte. It's very smooth, especially for being a 1986. This thing was probably a closet queen. Probably sat in the closet for many, many years, I'm imagining, because you could literally just go hang this up on the wall at any guitar shop and nobody would believe that it wasn't a brand new guitar or a guitar that's been out on the floor for a couple of weeks. These have jumbo frets, not quite as big as some of the newer Yngwies, but pretty much on par with like the mid-2000s Yngwies from both USA and Japan. One cool thing is, if you're really after that 22 frets, this is the only Yngwie endorsed guitar that has 22 frets, at least that I've seen so far. The pickups on these, at least from what I understand, were I think Tom Anderson pickups. He was an employee previously at Schecter at the time. They sound pretty darn good. They of course are traditional single coils. So, you know, if you get into the single coil positions, this one has a 5-way switch. You're going to get a lot of buzz. If you get in the in-between, you know, they kind of hum cancel out, so that's kind of cool. But if you're smart and you use a noise gate or a noise suppressor, you won't have to worry about that 60 cycle hum. Now, some other cool things are the bridge. Bridge is kind of weird, right? It looks like it was probably made by Wilkinson. At least that would be my guess, just based on the looks of it. I haven't used the whammy bar on it yet, so I don't know how stable it is, but it looks pretty cool. It was very easy to adjust. I'd say a little bit easier than the Fender bridges, because they used flathead screws back here. So the cool part about that is if you use the right flathead, you're never going to strip these out. Whereas on the Fender bridges, even if you use the right Phillips head, if you don't apply the right amount of pressure, you might strip them out. So not a make it or break it type deal, but kind of cool. Now, other different things are the knobs. So this one is volume as traditional. This one is tone, which is of course traditional too. This one down here though is bass. So this allows you to dial in the low end of this guitar, and even with it all the way up, it's not like flabby or muddy or crappy sounding. So I think they did a really good job with however they set these things up. So you can get a pretty good variety of tones with this guitar. If you turn the tone knob all the way down, you get like some really cool old school fuzz sounds. If you turn it all the way up, it sounds like Yngwie sounds. So I thought that was kind of cool. The body itself is ash, and it actually is pretty darn heavy. I haven't weighed it yet, but it definitely weighs more than the Yngwie Strats that I have. You can see where they, I don't know, no, it's not a book match. Well, maybe it is. It's hard to tell, but it's a two-piece ash body, so that's kind of cool. I did have to adjust the input jack. It was flush, so it looked really good, but then the jack wouldn't go all the way in, and it wouldn't ground all the way. So when I would touch the knobs, it would actually buzz. So when I did that, I had to take out the screws there, obviously, and this is some seriously hard wood because it was tough to turn, and it wasn't like stripping out the holes or anything like that. Same thing with this. When I took this off to check out the spring setup in there and check out the bridge block, those screws were tough to turn. So this is a very good piece of wood. Very, very impressed with it. If you can find one of these, definitely pick it up. If you're an Yngwie fan, I would definitely recommend it to everybody. Alright, thanks guys.